The movie begins with a desperate man named Oleg trying to survive one disaster after another in freezing Russia. He joins an illegal caviar transport job, hoping to make quick money, but greed destroys everything when the overloaded boat sinks straight into the lake. The cargo disappears underwater, the old boatman loses his boat, and Oleg is forced to hand over his car as payment. Completely broke and drowning in debt, he goes to his girlfriend Sveta, begging for help. And before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to Great Animation Recaps, because it helps us bring you more insane fantasy movie recaps like this. Sveta refuses to steal money for him, but she suggests asking her father Boris for help instead. Oleg hates the idea of begging Boris for money, but he has no choice left. When they arrive at the family house, the atmosphere is already chaotic. Boris is arguing with everyone while trying to repair a toilet, and the moment Oleg mentions selling the house to solve his debts, the entire family explodes into screaming and insults. Suddenly, the sky lights up as giant meteor fragments tear through the atmosphere. One massive piece crashes directly into the house and smashes into the grandfather Pavle, sending him crashing through the floor while everyone panics in terror. Outside, meteors rain across the city like the apocalypse has begun. The family rushes back inside expecting Pavle to be dead, but somehow the old man is still breathing. While everyone worries about survival, Oleg immediately becomes obsessed with the meteor itself, believing it could be worth millions. The family spends the entire night digging through the destroyed house searching for the glowing rock. Everyone eventually gives up except Oleg, who keeps digging like a man possessed until sunrise finally reveals the strange meteor hidden beneath the debris. But before Oleg can celebrate, Pavle quietly tells him something horrifying. He says he can feel death approaching and knows his life is ending. Oleg tries to call for help, but the old man calmly accepts his fate and dies right in front of him. Shocked and exhausted, Oleg notices the meteor has transformed into a strange purple liquid spreading across the room. Soon after, chaos erupts inside the house. When the family discovers that the meteor didn't just destroy their home, it changed them forever. Sasha suddenly gains monstrous super strength and bends solid metal with her bare hands. Sveta mysteriously turns invisible. Rita begins floating helplessly against the ceiling while everyone screams in fear. Then the impossible happens. Pavle comes back to life after being completely dead. Oleg cannot even process what he is witnessing as the entire house turns into madness. Rita accidentally floats outside, but the moment she moves too far away from the family, her powers vanish and she crashes to the ground while Pavle instantly dies again inside the house. Slowly, the family uncovers the terrifying truth. Their powers only work when they stay close together. If they separate, everything shuts down instantly. The hospital doctors laugh at them and refuse to believe their story, so the family returns home confused and terrified about their new reality. During dinner, the chaos continues as Sasha destroys objects without trying, and Rita jokes about joining a circus. Meanwhile, Talek discovers he can literally understand animals after holding a conversation with his dog like it is completely normal. Oleg becomes obsessed with discovering his own power, but nothing happens no matter how hard he tries. The next morning becomes even darker when he walks into Pavle's room and finds the old man hanging from the ceiling after attempting suicide. Because of his immortality, he cannot die no matter what he does. At the same time, Boris discovers he can teleport randomly across huge distances, usually at the worst possible moments. Instead of feeling blessed, the family feels cursed by powers they cannot control. While fishing near a lake, Oleg finally reveals his dangerous idea. He wants to use Sveta's invisibility to rob her bank and steal millions of dollars. Boris immediately rejects the plan, believing the powers should remain secret until they disappear naturally. But Oleg is desperate and terrified after criminal boss Valera threatens to murder him and sell his organs if he fails to repay the missing caviar money. With no way out and death hanging over his head, Oleg pressures the family into considering the robbery. Eventually, fear wins over morality. The entire family agrees to help with the heist, and instead of acting nervous, they celebrate wildly through the night like criminals preparing for war. Rita dreams about using their abilities to become famous performers, while Oleg only cares about survival. Then, late at night, Oleg finally discovers his own power. It turns out he can shoot streams of water from his fingers. Compared to immortality, invisibility, flying, and super strength, his ability feels completely ridiculous. The next day, Oleg meets Sasha at a fancy restaurant, but he quickly realizes the entire family is secretly surrounding him, while invisible Sveta sits beside him. Before he can relax, Valera and his gang suddenly walk into the restaurant and recognize him immediately. Oleg freezes in panic, but little Sasha unleashes her terrifying strength and smashes the criminals across the room like toys. The family barely escapes before their powers begin fading again due to distance, forcing them into another frantic getaway. Finally, the day of the robbery arrives. Sveta removes her clothes and turns invisible before sneaking inside the bank while the rest of the family waits nearby. Everything goes smoothly until a police officer demands that Boris move the car away from the building. The farther the car moves, the weaker their connection becomes. Suddenly, Pavle collapses dead again, and Sveta turns visible inside the bank vault in front of terrified employees. Oleg desperately rushes everyone closer to restore their powers, but the entire plan falls apart. During their escape, Boris accidentally teleports directly inside a police car, nearly getting arrested on the spot. Somehow the family still makes it home alive, but Boris loses patience completely. He forces everyone to commit fully to the robbery instead of acting like amateurs. Around this moment, Rita becomes emotional after the family humiliates her dream of becoming a performer. If your family suddenly gains superpowers like this, would you use them for money, fame, or something even crazier? Let me know in the comments. Rita's stage performance turns into another disaster when she loses control of her flying ability and crashes around the theater in front of a shocked audience. In the middle of the confusion, Valera attacks Oleg brutally and beats him unconscious while the theater manager treats it like part of the entertainment. Humiliated and exhausted, Oleg finally explodes at the family, calling them selfish fools who wasted the powers they were given. He even breaks up with Sveta and tries to leave forever, but Boris drags him back because now there is only one option left: finish the robbery properly. This time the family transforms into a terrifying criminal team. Wearing masks and working together perfectly, they launch a full-scale assault on the bank. Rita smashes through walls using heavy chains while Sasha blocks roads with impossible strength. Boris teleports directly into the vault, and invisible Sveta opens the safe using the security code she memorized earlier. Outside, Talek commands dogs to attack the police while immortal Pavle distracts witnesses by breathing fire after drinking gasoline like a human monster. The robbery succeeds perfectly. Bags of money flood into the car as police chase the wrong suspects, and the family speeds away toward freedom. Hours later, they stand together on a cliff outside the city, celebrating their victory as newly made millionaires. But the happiness doesn't last. Pavle quietly says goodbye to everyone and walks toward the edge, desperate to finally end his endless suffering. The emotional goodbye crushes the family, yet even after falling again, Pavle returns to life once more filled with anger and frustration. The family begins falling apart immediately after becoming rich. Boris dreams of keeping everyone together forever in a giant new home, but nobody wants that life anymore. Everyone has separate plans and selfish ambitions now. Then Pavle reveals one final betrayal. He already called the police before they arrived. Panic spreads instantly as the family races away before officers can catch them. During the escape, Sveta ends her relationship with Oleg permanently and throws him out of the car with his share of the stolen money. Oleg finally pays off Valera and prepares to flee the country forever, believing his nightmare is over. But while waiting at the airport, he sees breaking news showing Sveta and her family arrested while trying to steal Pavle's body from the morgue. Regret hits him instantly. Despite everything, he cannot abandon them. Oleg rushes back and reunites with Pavle, restoring the family's powers once again. Together, they storm the courthouse in total chaos as immortal Pavle attacks guards while Sasha smashes open prison cells. Boris teleports across the building, taking down officers, while the reunited family fights their way outside. But the entire area is surrounded by police cars waiting for them. Rita flies into the sky to distract everyone, while the others jump into a getaway car. What follows is absolute madness. Police vehicles slam into them from every direction as Boris uses teleportation to crash pursuing officers, and Sasha throws obstacles aside like paper. The family races through the city with destruction exploding behind them everywhere they go. During the chase, Oleg crashes through a massive fruit stand, completely covering the windshield in juice and debris, while police close in from all sides. For the first time in the entire story, Oleg's pathetic water power suddenly becomes useful as he sprays water from his fingers to clean the windshield while driving at insane speeds through narrow streets. The police finally trap them at a giant roadblock, and it looks like their journey is finally over. But at the last second, Sasha grabs a huge metal pole and forces the car straight through the blockade while police cars explode around them. Even after escaping the roadblock, the family still cannot outrun the authorities. Then Rita unleashes the craziest moment of all. Using her power, she lifts the entire car into the air and sends it flying above the city while stunned police officers can only watch helplessly below. After escaping, Oleg meets Valera one final time. But now everything has changed between them. Instead of threats and violence, Valera secretly helps the family flee the country forever. One by one, the superpowered criminals hide themselves inside a giant shipping container, loaded onto a massive cargo ship, heading toward a completely new life far away from Russia. As the ship disappears across the ocean, the strange family that started as broke ordinary people leaves behind chaos, destruction, stolen millions, and an entire city that will never forget them. If you enjoyed this insane movie recap, make sure to like the video, subscribe to Great Animation Recaps, turn on the notification bell so you never miss another epic story, and comment below telling me which superpower from this family you would want the most.